Hello everyone and welcome to Game 3 in a best of 3 series. OGS's SuperNova versus Killer here on Terminus Ray. Quickly, I believe it is the version with destructible rocks at the ramp, a full expansion, and no destructible rocks here. So getting this game underway, it should be rather easy for both players to establish up 3 bases. And we'll see whether or not we get into a very heavy macro game. Now, in Game 1, SuperNova was a little bit on the defensive end, and it really appeared that he was handling all the harassment very, very well. But ultimately, Killer able to hit a couple good timings with multiple drops, dealing a lot of damage, and was able to really break through. And we'll see whether or not Killer decides to play a much more aggressive style as he did in Game 2 on Shattered Temple, getting up a lot of Mutalis, having very, very good map awareness, keeping track of where drops could have been. He was aggressively hunting out drops and destroying medevacs as, oh look, GSL is ingrained into the map. Alright, so I guess this is the GSL version of Tournament, as SuperNova will be establishing perhaps a barracks off over here, or he may be trying to go for a command center first, and I think that's actually what he's doing. He's going for a command center first. You can see SCVs are all being heavily queued up, and this is going to be very good news for Killer. Killer currently flying and making its way over. He will spot that supply depot and see the SCV. So if it is going to be a very aggressive 15 command center here, we'll see whether or not Killer tries and makes or tries to punish his opponent for it. Now, the benefit for Zerg, they can use that new hatchery, even though it is at mineral patches, as more of a macro hatch and try to train up a lot of roaches and put down a lot of pressure. I believe what SuperNova will be doing is he will be building that barracks and then attempting to get a lot of bunkers here in order to fend off any serious engagements and any serious threats. Now, this is where you start going into the metagame idea. What exactly are you going to do against your opponent? I have seen Zerg players use Nidus networks very, very effectively against fast expanding Protoss players, and we'll see we'll see if that is going to be the case. That is just a wild prediction at this stage in the game, as no one has even harvested an ounce of gas. So talking about tier 2 may be a little bit premature. Spawning pool has been completed. Hatchery will be completed at pretty much the same time, or a little bit behind that command center. Command center will also most likely upgrade to an orbital command, giving a very strong economic lead to SuperNova, as we all know how effective orbital commands are. There is that bunker being established at that front door. There is that orbital command being built as well. Double mules this early in the game, very, very effective, as refinery is now being harvested, and we could be going into perhaps either stim or a factory. SCV attempting to do a bit of scouting. A Zergling getting a little bit ahead. A new Zergling now getting in a bit more damage here. This is not going to be good news for that SCV. The SCV already down to 10 hit points. Going to gain a little bit of a speed boost on that creep, as now that SCV has one hit to live, and there it goes. Now, a standard wall in coming in from SuperNova. Supply depots being established all across the front. We are going into reactor factory as well, so Hellion's going to be added. Interestingly, Killer is opting to go for the if you expand, I'll expand 2 strategy, and even though it will be difficult for Killer to saturate this expansion, because it is a ninja expansion, it may not get spotted for quite some time. And the longer that expansion runs, the better it will be. Better it will be for Killer, especially if he can perhaps get a spine crawler or 2 and defend it even in the later portions of the game. Production tab. So far, the Zerglings are not getting that metabolic boost, as we don't yet quite have 100 gas. And now an Overlord trying to hide back over here. It looks like the Marines won't be able to shoot it down. Apparently the glass getting in the way, as the Overlord's just parking itself off over here. We'll be able to see at least some SCV saturation, as there is also an Overlord here, and it's going to try to keep track of these destructible rocks. Hellions now making a move straight towards these creep tumors. A queen is in position, trying to go, I guess, claw to flame against a Hellion. The queen is now backing off. There are 2 queens and also adding that spine crawler. The queen is dealing some damage and the Hellion's dealing a bit more, but the queen does attack a little bit faster. And so the damage is actually probably higher, as now the Zerglings need to engage. The Hellion's perhaps going to be able to make it up the ramp, and oh, a momentary miscalculation there. No Zerglings, as all the drones are now all lined up together. 2 drones already down, another 2 getting destroyed, as the Zerglings now getting killed. Is it going to be enough, as the drones now, or the Zerglings, or the Hellions trying to make it so that they kill drones and Zerglings all at the same time, dealing a lot of damage here, and 5 worker kills as the Hellions will get taken out. 41 drones. I had thought that there was a little bit more worker kills, not too many, only 5 worker kills for the cost of 4 Hellions. Taking a look at the losses pretty much neck and neck at this stage. There is a queen now at the hatchery. Most likely we will just see a crazy amount of spawn larvae with a lot of drones, and with this, a Zerg player can saturate a 3rd base in only 3 minutes time, just because of that spawn larva. So we'll see if he will continue to do exactly that. Killer could just get a lot of drones off over here. He is missing an inject or 2, already up to 47 energy. Getting in a bit more, perhaps getting down a creep tumor would be helpful, but that would just spread out that creep a little bit too quickly, as now spine crawlers are trying to root themselves over here at the front door and protect some of these creep tumors now. A new creep tumor has to be laid down, otherwise this spine crawler will start to bleed, as we are now sitting on 53 drones versus 47 SCVs. A 3rd base now being established, as the Marines and the Marauders need to take down these destructible rocks, and double Banshees making their way out. So double Banshees coming in. There is a spine crawler being added, not a spore crawler, and SuperNova catching Killer completely off guard here, as drones are going to get destroyed by these Banshees. Banshees getting in some easy damage. An Overseer now finally joining in. The Banshees perhaps going to focus down the lower hit point Queen. Yes, the lower hit point Queen does get taken out. A Queen up against 2 Banshees. That Queen could easily focus down the lower hit point one, as well as it looks as though perhaps a drone will get destroyed. The Spore Crawler about to be completed, and the damage has been dealt. Oh, SuperNova has to be careful. He cannot afford to lose an expensive unit such as a Banshee that needlessly. Now, the rocks have not been destroyed. The orbital command a little bit far away, as a Hellion has quickly spotted this expansion off over here. A 2nd queen now being added. We'll see how much damage this Hellion can do. A spore crawler was completed before a spine crawler. Zerglings now making their way in, able to clean that up, and now getting that spine crawler here. Banshees making their way over. The Baneling trying to run away. It looks like 1 shot, and now with that movement speed, able to get exactly there with 1 spore crawler. Nicely handled. And now SuperNova knows that he is no longer as ahead as he would like. The destructible rocks have been finished off at the 3rd base, normally 3rd base location, as SuperNova is mining off of 3 bases, but then again, so is Killer. Armory now being added for perhaps 2-2 upgrades on those Marines and those Marauders. And this is where the Zerg player really has to be careful. He tried to establish up a 3rd base, taking up a base that's rather far, and that's going to force him to try to defend a lot of different locations. Mutalisk now coming in. It looks like 1 missile turret will be completed in time, and a Mutalisk may get destroyed in this engagement here, as it looks like Killer trying to repeat what he did in game 2 by getting up a lot more Mutalisks. Additional extractors need to be placed down. You can see that extractors are already up at the 3 o'clock location, and drones are finally being transferred. Mutalisks now sticking together. 63 drones compared to 68 SCVs. Taking a look into the base, SuperNova having a lot of barracks. His macro very strong at this stage. The front door also having supply depots and bunkers as well to prevent any sort of decent run by, as the Banshees once again got in a little bit more kills and now backing off again. The Overseer, however, giving sight as those Banshees are forced to retreat. Perhaps they should decloak as there's no reason to cloak inside your own base. Drones now being transferred off to this location here. Killer is starting to fall behind in terms of food, currently down by 12. The Banshee is going to look to hunt a new target once more. A medevac going to join in on the fight, and this will be spotted. Overlord, if he is spotting this on the minimap, sees that there are medevacs, and the medevac is going to perhaps try to unload off over here. And we'll see if any Zerglings do make their way over, or if perhaps Killer wasn't keeping track. The Overlord now slowly positioning itself, and it does see Marines now unloading here. Banshee's coming in. The Overlord should get shot down unless SuperNova is very careful. No, he is going to destroy that Overlord first and now make a run into the third base. The Zerglings now trying to get over there very, very quickly. There is one Spine Crawler, one Queen, and that Banshee is going to finish off this very quickly. But in comes the Zerglings now to get in the swarm and finish this off. A Queen now needs to make its way over. The Queen now going in with an additional Spore Crawler to offer some sight, but the Banshee is very smart in getting in some easy shots onto those Banelings. But now we have an attack on the front door as all the Zerglings are away. So Marines now doing a very strong push here. Even the siege tanks. Oh, what is this? Why are the Spine Crawlers backing off? Oh, he doesn't want to fight on creep, deciding to simply retreat and fight where he doesn't give a very nice movement speed bonus. In comes the Marines and Mutalisk going at it. The Banelings were a little bit late, and Killer pretty much sacrificing a lot of units without dealing that much damage at all. 70 Harvesters compared to 67, as medevacs are now trying to do a drop. Oh, a very nice, easy drop cleaned up there, as SuperNova now tries to move forward with more siege tanks. The tanks will have 1-0 upgrades later, as we now have a medevac retreating all the way back home. Both of these guys have been playing a very heavy macro style. We are now almost up to 202, or at 170 food, as the Marines and the Mutalisk going toe-to-toe, but simply too many Marines, especially with 2-2 upgrades against 1-0 Mutalisk. And now we are going to have a drop straight up on the high ground. So we'll see what's going to happen here. The Zerglings are going to try to get a very strong flank, and now in comes the flank. The Banelings going to try to find their target. Zerglings going to surround and destroy here. Marines are up on the high ground. Killer they're taking a lot of damage. Baneling's trying to find the Marines, unable to get to the targets, as the Marines and the siege tanks still reinforcing. Marines are in the base here. There are double medevacs, and really the double medevacs helping as the Marines are trying to finish off more Mutalisk. Mutalisk getting destroyed now, and in loses a Queen as well. This small pack of Marines dealing a lot more damage than they should at this stage in the game, as there is not that much defense in the main base. Now, outside the front door, we see also a very large, or a small squadron of Marines on a mission to finish off even more units, as we may have a Banshee going up and quickly getting taken out by a Queen here. The Marines still inside the main base, still causing problems, until finally more Zerglings are making their way over. But now we have Thors, siege tanks, Marines, not that many medevacs. Oh, another medevac dropping here. And the Queen was trying to snipe down the medevac, but it doesn't look like it will be enough. And the Marines going after Zerglings, going after the Queen. The Marines now need to regroup together as more Zerglings still coming in. It looks as though the Marines were doing that stutter step back, and the Queen will be taken down. So 4 Marines here at this base, and Killer needs to get those Zerglings out in a hurry. Zerglings will be coming in, but now a 70 food advantage as more and more units still being trained up. Siege tank, Marines, Zerglings, Banelings. Banelings quickly finding, or Zerglings easily finding and taking down the siege tank, but a lot of damage was absorbed or dealt, or absorbed by a lot of these Zerglings here, as now Killer now down to 59 drones. Things are starting to unravel. He cannot easily drone up, as he would then sacrifice too much of his production in terms of units, as there is a very large army knocking on the front door. In comes the Marines. The Marines upgraded 2-2, soon to be 3-3. And SuperNova with a 200 food Marine siege tank, Thor, medevac army, able to bust down this front door. No Ultralisks, no Infestors, and it really felt like Killer never was able to transition away from Mutalisk, and he never dealt the necessary damage with those Mutalisks. You can see missile turrets are off in the bases, Marines were always close by, and there's the GG. Killer after winning Game 1, losing Game 2 and Game 3 in this best of 3 series. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening.